Warren, I don't know if you're actually going to watch this video or not, or just blindly approve it, but you're starting to come off as anti-Semitic. Do you remember that Israeli-Lebanese conflict that happened a few months ago? The Hezbollah firing numerous Katyusha rockets off into Israel. I know a bunch of Lebanese were killed by the Israeli response. And, surprise, Israelis were killed too. Not that it was covered in the media. And 700,000 Israelis were displaced, compared to the 1 million Lebanese that were displaced during that war. There's two sides to every story. You should look at the other side too. Okay? Now, where do I get my facts from? Possibly a Zionist publication? No. Try Amnesty International. Look up the conflict on their site and see what they say. I think Amnesty International is pretty fair in their reporting of things. Wikipedia also has numbers on deaths for both sides of the conflict too. Now, were more civilians killed in Lebanon than in Israel? Yes. Why was that? Could it be because Hezbollah goes and hides themselves among civilian populations? Surround myself with civilians. I'll be protected. And then, after the war's over, they come in with lots of money from the Islamic extremists and go, well, we'll fix everything now. We're sorry you got bombed out. It's not our fault. It's the filthy Israelis' fault. Okay? Two sides to every story. Try looking at the other side once in a while. There's a fella here on YouTube. Look up Pallywood. Okay? There's a string of videos there where international journalism paints a picture of Israelis being evil. But it appears, note that word, appears a lot of it is staged. It's fake. It's bullshit. Do you know that the surrounding countries to Israel treat Palestinians like third-class citizens? Not my opinion. I'm getting that from a Palestinian who posted. So, why don't you look at that before you go off on your little rant saying Israel is evil? They're killing Palestinians right and left. You know? Other countries don't want Israel there. Israel is there, period. A lot of the land that Israel owns was bought and paid for. Money paid to Arabs to purchase the land. I'm sorry, they're Jews, so we can just say, well, sucker, you gave us your money, now we're going to try and kill you. The information is out there if you bother to look for it. You're not bothering to look for it. You're just taking a stance and saying, oh, you're allied with America? You're evil, because America is evil. Americans aren't evil. There's a percentage of us that are jackasses. They really need the shit kicked out of them. But not all of us, and not all Israelis are bad. But you sure as hell paint it that way. As far as you're concerned, we've got, 180,000 American troops in Iraq? Every last one of them, from what you say, is a rapist and a murderer, and that's all they do, day after day, is look for innocent people to abuse and kill and rape. Nobody bad ever gets hurt. Or if they do, it's only the law of averages involved that makes bad people get hurt. The Americans are just out there to abuse innocent women and children. That's the way you paint it. And that is wrong. That's why you get to be a cunt at times. Your own word. At times, you're a goddamn cunt. And you don't want to hear anybody's opinion but your own. You take the first 30 seconds of a clip and go, well, that's the facts, Jack. I've made my decision. Bah! You know? I go off on other things you've done. You're only going with half the facts. Look at both sides of the goddamn story before you pass judgment and go off on one of your fucking rants. That's not too much to ask. That's what a rational person does. I don't think you're a rational person, though, the way you keep posting your videos. And yes, I'll keep watching you. And yes, I'll keep making video responses to you. Because the other side of the story has to be heard, whether you like it or not. You can't do just one side of a story. There are two sides to every story. Always has been, always will be. If you don't like it, too bad. You hear crap about cops getting killed. That whole thing in New York with the guy getting shot 50 times. During that sequence, they spent a whole sentence, maybe two, on a guy who killed a cop who after 3 years was finally going to trial. Hell, maybe we should just give him a parade and say thanks for sticking it to the man and shooting and killing a cop, and to hell with his family who's had to wait 3 years for some kind of justice to be done. But that's okay, because the guy was a cop. He's not really a person, and the soldiers aren't really people. They're scum, and we should remove them from the earth because they're not doing as you think things should be done. Now I'm going off on a tangent, and I'm starting to lose it. And yes, for the people who will rise to your defense, your little sheep, and yes, you have them, I have been drinking, and no, I'm not smoking weed. I'm smoking tobacco. See that? That's tobacco. So I have been drinking, and I'm going off on my little rant here. And I'm wearing a shirt for your detractors. The shirt says, I'll continue to wear black until they come up with something darker. So there's no mysterious there either. But you're being a fucking cunt, and you're coming off as anti-Semitic. Okay? You hate Jews? Is that it? At least come out and say that and be honest about it. Okay? Have an adequate day.